Hello, my name's Olurotimi Osha. I like to talk about American presidents, but right now I want to continue with my discussion of the John S. McCain Strategic Defense Fellow. I've done about two videos concerning my fellowship. So the John S. McCain Strategic Defense Fellow is a it's the most prestigious. It's called the premier civilian um, civilian leadership development program for people who've just graduated with an advanced degree to join the Department of Defense. So it's a 1 year leadership development program, and it creates a pathway, a career, a senior leadership career path in the Department of Defense to build future senior leaders of the Department of Defense. And of course, the mentors, the McCain Fellow um, a gets to work with um, a senior executive service. Those are the highest levels of the Department of Defense. In my case, I worked in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. They had a special assistant level. It's an appointment, and I was fortunate. I was the number one pick in my cohort. You can check out the John S. McCain Strategic Defense Fellowship on their website, the Department of Defense website, or the Washington headquarters. So the Department of Defense, that's a Pentagon. It's broken down into several administrative units, and one of them is called Washington Headquarters Services, WHS. So they deal with things like hiring and for the Department of Defense. They're part of the Department of Defense. So you could check out the John S. McCain Strategic Defense Fellowship on that website. So the reason I wanted to do this video today was because I got an email from Columbia University, right? Columbia University sent me an email. I've written an article talking about how, you know, while I was wrongfully detained, Columbia deactivated my email, claiming, and when I sought clarification and reactivation of my email, they claimed that, well, I'd violated my privileges. Spamming was being sent from that email. They never gave me an example of the spamming. They never. I told them, well, my email had been hacked. I told them about the doxing and the swatting and the cyber hacking I'd been suffering since May 16, 2023. Nevertheless, they still blocked my email and sent me a defamatory letter. So today they sent me an email saying they conducted an investigation to make sure that I wasn't being discriminated. And they said, well, that they didn't know that I was a minority, so I wasn't being discriminated, which is ridiculous because Colombia knows that I'm a minority. They have these hacks that work in these major institutions, and I'm getting concerned about this. America today. The operations, the nefarious actions of representatives of our major institutions. So this person sent me something that was bizarre and irrational, right? Sent me a narrative, a missive that was completely irrational. It was counterfactual. It didn't even make sense. It was conclusory. They didn't tell me they were conducting an investigation with regard to my concerns, and they didn't even ask me to provide evidence a second time, and they just made conclusory statements. And so they just continue harassing me and violating my rights. And then they claimed, well, they sent the missive just to defend themselves, saying they weren't discriminating against me because they didn't know my race. They didn't know I was a minority. I graduated from Columbia. Columbia University knows everything, right? They know my status. They know my name. They know they know I'm a minority because they have all that data, all of that information. They collected all of that, my financial aid, everything. They have all of that information. So it's disingenuous for a representative of Columbia to be saying, well, we didn't discriminate against you. We couldn't have discriminated against you because we didn't know what your race or your minority status was, which is ridiculous. So on top of everything, it's just lies and lies. But in any event, what was significant is I've talked about the malicious prosecution in Maryland, and I wanted access to the email because um, part of the swatting that I experienced from the Navy, it came from the career portal. It's called Handshake, career portal of Columbia University. So I was solicited by the Navy that I would um, have this interview, right? And the interview was supposed to entail, it was supposed to involve a psychological and fitness test on May 16, 2023. It was initially scheduled for May 15th, and they rescheduled it to May 16, 2023 via phone. And that was the same day that there was a crisis, a hoax call that led 40 cops to entrap me in my home, shoot me, taser me, gas me, remove me naked, and dump me in a hospital. So these are all violations, right? They're violations of information, false information, and hoax call. It's an 18 USC section 1038 violation, right? And there's a 18 USC section 1030 violation. There's a 18 USC section 875 violation. There's a 18 USC section 371 violation. So a whole bunch of violations. And so because Columbia's platform was used. But another thing that's significant is that I'm linking this to my experience as a John S. McCain Fellow. The Columbia email shows something. I talked about working with this person. When I joined the McCain Fellowship, I was not asked to work with this person in a group called Strategic Communications. And it turns out it was just me and her that were in the group, that were federal employees. She was just 3 months before me. And the person I was working with was a GS 14. The McCain Fellowship says I can only, I'm supposed to work with no one less than a GS 15, right? So this person who was a GS 14 was directing my work. I'm going to talk later on about what she was doing. And my work was, she had me doing work on diversity. I was hired as a financial analyst to do, as the program manager told me, that high level financial management analysis. But no, I was told to go and be checking by this lady, to be going to look for diversity calendar, to fill a diversity calendar. Things that um, were bizarre, that had nothing to do with my job description, writing financial analysis. So, but importantly, there was something else that she did that was a violation, a policy violation, apart from her, the quid pro quo she tried to get me into, the sexual harassment and things like that, the unwanted flirting, right? I had told my friend about the unwanted flirting, and my friend told me that, look, the way to resolve that was just to turn off my camera, because it was a time we were working remotely because of the COVID situation. So this person was just a monster. She was I'd never worked with someone so toxic. She was a monster. She was a racist. That was the biggest part of it, and she was flirting with me on top of it. I don't mix business with pleasure, right? I don't go to work to look for a relationship. What is ironic is she was actually a married woman, right? And I don't know. Well, they say there are many people, married people, who look for their work husband or work wife. That was just not for me. Um, in any event, this person, till today, I have electronic devices. I continue to receive uh, email notification for a meeting with this person, right? In strategic communications. That's after how many years of leaving? After it's been 4 years now, 4 years of living till today. My one of my phone is destroyed because of it. I continue to receive automated email and calendar, scheduled automated calendar scheduling of an appointment, alerts for an appointment with this person with strategic communications. That's actually a policy violation of the Department of Defense. So my Columbia email has evidence of this, right? That she violated policy, because it turns out this person and, you know, they entered into this bizarre arrangement now, uh, passing false information, claiming falsely that I violated policy. And she was sending me emails to my personal Colombia emails constantly. And that's evidence. Now, I've been requesting this from Colombia so that I can continue with my complaints. But it turns out it's starting to look like this person is so powerful and or has access to people that she can get people to destroy information. Uh, she has access to Columbia University alum or people within Columbia University that they can destroy information, they can bury information. She has so much power to people connected in Montgomery County to be able to bribe a judge like Judge James Bonifant, uh, induce the state attorney to file false charges, get the police to file, to come and file false incident reports. I'm not a bigot, right? I'm not anti whatever, but there's a pattern that a friend of mine noticed that, look, this might be going on. And this was a concern of the man who filed the falsified emergency evaluation petition. He found out that even though I was still working in the Department of the Navy, for the federal government, the Department of Navy is part of the Department of Defense. I just moved. I got a new position as an auditor. Um, he found out that I had a complaint against her, right? I had a complaint against her because she had committed perjury. She had falsified things, cast aspersions on my character. And I'm somebody who has, I value myself on having unimpeachable integrity, right? My name is not just for me. It represents my house, my parents, right? How they raised me, and of course my family. So in America, people, I came to realize that people saying they have integrity or whatever, it's just it's just sound bites. It has no real meaning. You know, it's just fluff. It doesn't really have significance for a lot of people. When people accuse President Donald Trump of being a pathological liar or constantly lying, people forget that we're living in a society, don't realize that many Americans are pathological liars, right? They're pathological liars. So it's like it goes with the territory. Because this person I was working with, she's a pathological liar, and I stated it, and I can prove it. But it turns out that there's a system that's protecting a pathological liar working in a classified area and she didn't have a top secret. She had just a secret clearance. I had a higher clearance and I was new, top secret. It turned out that she was jealous of the fact that I was in this leadership development program and I was new. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. She's the one who's white, who's got the advantages. And I don't know if she thought I was just a diversity hire or something like that, and I couldn't do stuff. But it didn't, I didn't care because I wasn't supposed to be working with her. She had a graphic design, art history, and graphic design. I have a major in accounting, an MBA in accounting and information systems. I did STEM at Columbia University. I did math. I was once a biomedical engineering major, a biological science major, a pre-med at Columbia University. I did mathematics at Columbia University. I can list all the math because people don't understand how somebody with a history degree, I also have a history degree, can also do mathematics. Yes, I did. What is it? Calculus 1, Calculus 2, Calculus 3, Calculus 4, ordinary differential equations, linear algebra, uh, in addition to college algebra, analytic geometry. Those are the basic stuff, right? Apart from my pre-med major, right? General chemistry 1, 2, organic chemistry, biochemistry, mother, um, genetic, whatever, biology, all of that. I didn't expect to be working with someone who has a graphic design, uh, major in the comptroller's office, right? Because I was told I was hired to do a high level financial management analysis, right? And this person was directing my work. It was a GS-14. That was discrimination. I was supposed to be directed by at least a GS-15, and I had to still have a senior executive, member of the senior executive service. So it was clearly racism and discrimination in the Department of Defense, right? That I had to suffer. I can work in any situation. I'm versatile, but the abuses and the lies that this person told against me, and the fact that um, there was someone who told me that, look, I should withdraw this complaint because I filed a complaint with the EEO and the DOD Inspector General's office, and she was under investigation. They were under investigation. All of this was ongoing because she had made false accusations. I was cool. I didn't do anything, but I'll defend my honor, my integrity, right? I know it sounds, I'm not trying to sound quixotic or anything like that, but again, my character, my reputation, it's priceless. And one of the reasons why I got this McCain fellowship, and I was the number one pick, was because of my character and my reputation, things I've done. But since this person, there was a smear campaign from the DOD. Today, while I got this bizarre email from Columbia University, which, while I was wrongfully detained, just blocks my email. It sends me this bizarre email that I was sending spam, right? When what they're really trying to do is cover up the fraud of this person, right? This pathological liar working in the federal government who shouldn't be there. She's only got her job because of her race or whatever. I don't know. But I didn't get my job because of my race, right? I haven't gone to malign anybody, but I will defend myself, my integrity. I wouldn't let anybody cast aspersions on my character. Yes, does she have a mental illness, a severe mental illness? Yes, she does, and she should get treatment. And people who, I don't look down on people who have a mental illness, right? They should get attention. But if they're dangerous to the rest of us, if they're dangerous and they're going to be casting aspersions, lying, pathological liars, there's certain areas you should keep them away from. And this person should have been kept away from the federal government because she does more harm. What is she? She a spy? I mean, the people that I know that they tell lies like that, they say spies, they have to be pathological liars. There's a certain level of psychopathy, psychopathy that spies are supposed to have. Okay, if she's a spy, let her go and work as a spy somebody else. Was she a honey trap? I don't know. Today, it was interesting. I've been getting these harassing text messages from somebody who claims to be CIA. They claim to be CIA trying to give me a job on a text, whatever. My friends, you know, the harassment that I've been facing, right, from this person. Who knows? This person might be a foreign agent, and they've infiltrated the federal government. The federal government, American federal government, it's like a nihilistic. I mean, from my little experience in the Department of Defense, we're supposed to be the most secure because that deals with our military. That's where the nuclear, all the things we have, our military arsenal, and people are trying to get into it, right? When the foreign spies infiltrate America, it's not what is in the Department of Homeland Security they're trying to get. Those are not the secrets. It's the secrets in the Department of Defense, at the Pentagon, they're trying to get. The Navy secrets. It's of our weapons, of our technology. Those are the things they're trying to get. And you have somebody that I worked with who was unreliable, right? She was more than unreliable. She demonstrated acts of moral turpitude with her boss, right? Her longtime boss. And there are just certain people, you shouldn't put them in certain places because they're just going to cause chaos, right? If they're spies, because they say they use some certain people as honey traps, right? They should put them where they can be a honey trap and not be disrupting American citizens and causing us headache and saying, man, this is a terrible country or this is a terrible system we have. No, I know America has a great system and we can make it better. I still believe in what our Constitution says, that it is we aspire for a more perfect union, right? A work in progress. Uh, Today is a lot different from where we were 250 years ago. We're a lot different from where we were in 1964. And I've been very grateful that, for the opportunities I originally had as someone who came from outside. But today I'm an American citizen now. I can't just keep being grateful, right? I'm going to exercise my right as an American. When you become a citizen, you no longer have a privilege. It's now a right, right? It's now your right. And one of the things that I have a right to be free from is discrimination and abuses, right? And defamation that I've received from this honey. I don't know if she's a honey trap. I don't know if she's a foreign agent. Is she working for a foreign government trying to infiltrate the DOD and things like that? We don't know. But there's an outsized influence that, she or people acting on her behalf seem to exercise, because I've never experienced this before. I live an uneventful, unadventurous life, very stable, very predictable life. But the thing is, I've been held since 2023 now. I was raided in my home and they spread disinformation. I was swatted, I was injured, I was shot at. These lines here, that's from a shot. I'm not a violent person. I don't appreciate what I experienced, right? And today, okay, I'm getting all these text messages, strange text messages. I can't even go home and see my mother. My mom was just telling me that, oh, she's not feeling well. My 85-year-old mother who hasn't seen me since 1999, saying, well, she's not feeling well because they have these trumped up charges against me in Montgomery County that are fake. Everybody's looking at what's going on, you know? And guess what? That Montgomery County, this person, the pathological liar, it was born and raised in Montgomery County, just like the crooked judge James Bonifant. There's certain things that apart from me reading a lot of books, I grew up reading Robert Ludlum. There's certain things that when you see a pattern, right, you'd be foolish to ignore those patterns, right, that are they're pretty consistent. They say that lightning does not strike twice in the same place. If you believe it does, the right lightning strikes twice in the same place, um, three times in the same place, over and over and over again. Well, good luck to you. But in any event, this person, this pathological liar, she does seem to have this wield some kind of influence, and I've been harassed. I continue to be harassed by the school I graduated from in New York. That's Columbia University. And then today I keep getting these strange text messages of somebody claiming they're CIA and they want to give me a job, right? Nah, 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 nah. That's not how CIA operates. I had to send them a text message that, okay, if you're CIA, why don't you just invite me to Langley, right? Why don't you just invite me to Langley, your headquarters, to see you and talk to me, right? Why? What sort of job do you want to give me? If you're really CIA, right? If you're CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, because that's what this person is now claiming, who's been texting me. I've been receiving these harassing texts, right? Uh, when Navy did their own, they claimed on May 16th they had a job for me. Instead, I was swatted, I was swatted, I was harassed, I was shot at, I was assaulted in my home. Today, this one, it's CIA. They have a job for me, right? Invite me to Langley headquarters. Then I'll know you have a job for me if you're CIA, right? My name is Oluro Timiosha. I'll keep you posted. Thank you.